You do have a break now. You're going to Leagues Cup, but as far as regular season goes, you're 10 points away from San Diego. And I'm just wondering, is this considered one of the hardest parts of your tenure as far as the challenge that the team has had in the regular season? And where do you think this team can still go this year in this season?
I don't have a crystal ball. We certainly need to be busy in the transfer window, and we're trying. And I think that is what, if you look in the players' faces too, I think that's what the team needs. The team needs some fresh blood and some energy, and we're going to try to give them that. But until those players are here, the most important players in the world are the ones wearing the LAFC jerseys tonight for me. And we will continue to work in that manner and try to maximize the potential of this particular group. I'm a professional soccer coach. I don't really consider my job or a portion of my tenure being hard. We try to enjoy what we do here, make the most of it, and not forget that it's professional sports.
Yeah, baby. Here we go. What's up, Erik?
What's up, Celso?
Section 128. We are live from everywhere. It says live from Southern California, but who knows? No, we're everywhere.
Yeah, you're live in
all
Southern
over
California.
the place,
We're
baby.
live in Southern California. So let's not split these hairs.
That is right. Thank you for being here. This was Fugazi. I appreciate always you guys letting us use your song in our podcast. Massive episode. If you've never been here, thank you first of all for being here, and you've picked a good show to join. We're going to be breaking down every single transfer that LAFC has done over the last 12 months, beginning with Mr. Olivier Giroud, but also talk about Leagues Cup, which is a big change of pace for all of us. Yes, we'll get into the Portland loss this much because it really doesn't matter at this point, but more than anything, break down what is going to happen with Leagues Cup. And let's be honest, give JT a report card for the work he's done over the last 12 months. But listen, first off, we have breaking news, Erik. It's not really breaking news, but it's something we have to address first and foremost before we talk about anything else, before we talk about Gerundo's comments right there, which is the fact that we may have another superstar on his way to Los Angeles this time. South Korean superstar by the name of Son. Let's just call him Son for now. Just gonna go to you right away. Talk to me about what it would mean for Son Heung-min to become an LAFC player. And by the way, if you Google certain things and you involve a certain man named A Good Juan, you will see that he's already been signed by LAFC. I won't say anything else about that. Erik, how you doing, my friend? Really good to see you, buddy.
Good to see
Talk
you,
to me
too.
about
And,
Mr. Son.
Since you brought up Juan, A Good Juan, like, come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Get him out of Twitter jail. It's one of the best LAFC Twitter accounts. The funniest posts. Like, this is what they call in soccer an own goal here. But whatever. Terms of service are terms of service, but if we got some leeway, guys, come on. Let A Good One out.
I think we'll let this ride. He did fly very close to the sun, and sometimes you do get a little burned. Gotta wear your SPF 50 there, but no, Erik, Son is huge, man, and this is the thing about John Thorrington. We're going to be examining this man more than we ever been on the show, so it's another big hit for LAFC, another big hit for John Thorrington if he does land that. What does it mean?
Son would probably be, not probably, like certainly be the biggest signing since Carlos Vela was announced back in, I think it was like late 2016, full like over a year before LAFC started. Like Son will be second to that. And I don't think any player really could ever dwarf Carlos Vela because, that was the biggest signing ever. But Son is up there. What does that mean to LA? In the Korean diaspora, Los Angeles has the largest Korean community outside of Korea of anywhere, which means Son coming here It's going to be huge for the city. It's going to be huge for the Korean community there, and just a massive transfer. He's 33 years old, so he's not over the hill or anything like that. Like, he's still got a couple prime years left in there, and he's just, man, one of the best forwards in the Premier League over the last 10 years, and just a dominant player. And so to get him on our team would be absolutely massive. And what else is there to say? The guy is fantastic.
Yeah, no, there's one thing to say. What does this say about your general manager, John Thorrington? Because we're going to go into a very deep, let's say, examination of his work and his body of work. And the one thing I'm going to say is that he keeps landing these people, which if you don't have Messi in your squad, it's not happening in MLS. So what does that say to you about John Thorrington's ability to even have these guys listen to your pitch?
I have a ton of respect for what JT has done. If you look at his full 8-year body of work, when we get into his grades, I think the last 12 months has probably been one of the worst 12 months that he's had. And I think this last 12 months is a 12 months that he cannot repeat if he expects to continue to be on the cutting edge of this league and continue to put up contenders. But, I will say, one of this is the advantage of Los Angeles. This is the city of angels. This is Tinseltown. It's a world city, and players want to come here.
Yes.
Any player around the world, they can live anywhere they want. Los Angeles is up there on the list because this is where the Hollywood lights are. This is a media center. The weather's gorgeous. Everything's gorgeous about Los Angeles. It's the greatest city on the planet. So, drawing guys to LA, that's not a huge bar to clear, Getting it across the finish line, dealing with the egos, dealing with all the other things they have going on. Now that proves to be the tricky thing. If we look at the Antoine Griezmann saga, which seemed to roll on for 2 years, they did everything but pull out the red carpet for him, only to have him kind of just decide at the end, maybe I'll go there in 2 more years. So I do think that players around the world look at our league with a lack of seriousness that they would have looking at other leagues. I think to a player at a top league in Europe, they look at us almost similar to how they look at Saudi, except the Saudi league, there's no nightlife, and they get paid way more money. Here, we have a nightlife, but I think whether they're coming here with to play the game and win trophies first on their mind, this is always the thing that I question. So,
I think that guy is. I actually think he's going to be ready to play and give us more than he's done. I really do. But I know what you mean. Thomas Muller, which is now reported going to Vancouver, it's a guy that you question. Well, why are you going to Vancouver, bro? Are you really interested in make Canadians love soccer more than they do? You're going to be an ambassador there? You're trying to be an owner? What are your aspirations beyond coming here? You know what I mean? Because there has to be something beyond just coming here. Chiellini, we all question, dude, why you want to come here on TAM? Not making any money. Now we know. He wanted to be an owner. So he had a whole plan for it, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think LAFC does really well there in luring these guys to come here.
If we look at the motivation to me, and I don't want to generalize every Korean I've ever met, but every Korean that I've ever met, they have a lot of pride in their country. They have a lot of pride in their people. And so I imagine Son is the same way. And I think when he's going to come here and he's going to be able to showcase what he does to the largest Korean community on the planet outside of Korea. And so I think with that, I do think that is going to be a big motivation for him to really put a bunch of pride in himself and put it all on the field and really, really chase that trophy in a way that I wasn't so sure about Thomas Muller. I mean, as you know, he wasn't a guy that I was super excited to hear. But Son, on the other hand, and in general, I'm not into the sunsetting Europeans at all. I want young, early 20-year-old hungry South Americans trying to prove themselves, not people who have already proven themselves and they're kind of going out to pasture. But
Son, I think he's not that old for a midfielder. I think
exactly
he can do a lot.
I think he's an exception to that rule. And so if we can land him, that's going to be great. I did see
It's looking good.
it is. I saw this. I don't know if it's a tabloid from Sports Chosun, which I believe is a Korean site, saying that the expectations are high, but Coach Frank has changed his gaze 180 degrees. Basically, he mentioned that he's looking forward to Son's leadership over this next season.
Okay.
And he's saying they haven't chosen the captain yet. So is this a negotiating chip? So I don't know what it's going to take to get this over the finish line for Thorrington, or whether it's a done deal, or whether this is just some tabloid stuff. But, I'm trying to not get my hopes up and be like, oh yeah, this is a done deal. After their game in Seoul, he's coming. Because if you don't know, I believe it's August 17th. Tottenham is on a world tour. They play in Seoul, South Korea. And there's a clause in there that they lose 75% of the revenue if he does not play. So, I mean, and that again tells you how important he is to the Korean community. So,
yes,
we're not going to know this for probably about 3 weeks now before it can be official. So, it's going to be bite the nails time.
Yeah, what's interesting, no competition for other European teams to sign one of the greatest, active players in EPL. Yeah, he's not as good as he used to be maybe this season, but his numbers are incredible. I'm just looking at his statistics here. 2023-2024 season, 35 matches, 17 goals, 10 assists. 24-25 currently, 30 matches, 7 goals, 9 assists. So clearly taking a step back, but still very highly productive guy. Someone mentioned the fact that they're playing Europa League and they're not going to have this guy for that with the South Korean team.
They won Europa League. They're defending champions now.
Right. So I think they're playing again. Right?
He's also the highest salaried player on Tottenham currently. That's a whole other issue.
Shit. Yeah. Which is crazy. Which so the question here is, and I'm going to take way too long to the Son, but it's such a big news. We have to talk about it. But the thing is, how much Lloris, right, has had to do with this? It's a little Tottenham reunion. So real quick, do you think Lloris approves the move? I think he does in regards of that little spat they had. And do you think he had a part in bringing him here if it happens?
I mean,
no. I don't know.
I'm just completely pulling this answer out of my rear end here because I have no idea. But my gut tells me that Lloris really has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's kind of coincidental, and but I
meet again.
No, but I think it's only helpful. It's only helpful for the situation to happen to have them because they both played on that team for a long, long time.
I know, yeah. They almost own that team. By the way, if you're joining us, I'm just gonna keep that thing rolling in the bond of our show today, just in recognition of our good friend Juan Vargas, which as of today no longer can display his tweets on his page.
I'll point out Juan got kicked out of an El Tráfico that we went to down in Carson.
Juan is always on the wrong side of shit. Come on, is he here? Juan, if you're here and if you want to join the show, come. We'll get you in. You know how to reach me. Just it's not gonna be on X, but please, man, come over. I just need to hear about this. But if I had to guess, it had to be about what he did about Son because he created this perfect thing, showing Son in an LAFC jersey. Maybe we'll show this, but I don't want to get shithouse either. So we'll see about that. But look, man, I appreciate you giving me the thoughts on Son. I think it's just a slam dunk. I hope he produces though. The fact is, DPs here have a history of underproducing, unless your name is Carlos Vela. I can't remember the last DP. And Diego Rossi that gave us, really, really great numbers.
Of course, Denny Bouanga?
Well, Denny's still here, so I'm not counting him, of course.
All right.
I'm telling guys that
there's a big hole right there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Denny's, of course, here. But if you either left or if you're coming, you know what I mean? It's not working. But yes, Denny Bouanga and Carlos Vela aside, and Diego Rossi being that 31. Who else is there to talk about as far as designated players that have given LAFC what they deserve? That's a lot of holes in there, and that's been John Thorrington's weakness, and we're going to see that on this next segment that we have. Can you hear me? Eric, can you hear me? Will you not hear me through that?
Oh, no, my whole thing just blacked out.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't really.
Yeah, no, it went to the graphic like 35 seconds ago, and I
That's
was just
fine.
backstage. I was
But
backstage.
but could you hear me talking through it?
No, complete silence.
Oh, okay. So never mind. So that's a problem, but we'll try again here a little bit. But yeah, so what I was gonna say is we had a graph here, hopefully up. You saw it of
I
the
did.
yeah. So you saw kind of the roster, what it looked like, the two big holes, of course, center back, and then you had the two DP spots open. So the first question is, what does LAFC need? Let's put the Sun thing aside. You kind of saw the graph there. Where would you go with that?
Well, LAFC. All right. So looking at this thing, man, it gets so tough. Like,
I
especially
know,
with the
bro.
Delgado Tillman. I feel like Igor is kind of like doesn't get the credit he's due. But yeah,
No.
LAFC.
I just want you to focus on as far as this transfer windows go. It's just open, and I just want you to tell me at this time, what does LAFC need to do? Right? We know we're gonna base. We already got Conier. He already got announced, right? But where would you go if you're JT and you're looking at this beautiful thing that someone posted and I stole? I swear. What
Yeah,
would you
no,
do?
it's
Where
dead
would you
on.
be your first move? Where would be your first move?
Yeah, no, I mean, first move is Son if you can get Son, and number two, just like on this, we need another DP attacker. Like we need three DP attackers. If you, I don't even know like the way we play. I'd say it'd be great to get like a number 10 who's a DP, really creative, but we just don't play that way. And so, yeah, the two DP attackers first off, and another midfielder would be good because we're super thin there, and two starting center backs, and I would not mind to see like some money go into those positions because they're really critical here. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
no, there's a lot of work to do. That was one of my comments on Twitter. I apologize for the mishap there. That was on me. I kicked Erik out inadvertently. My bad, bro. But you can see the roster and us. Boom. That's what we wanted here. But look, man, now it's time for grading what has happened in the last 12 months, starting with Olivier Giroud. We talked about this, and you expected this to happen. A lot has happened since, but we want to give JT his report card for the last 12 months. Yeah, you got work to do. We talked about Son coming in, but bro, that was a lot of mistakes that happened the last 12 months. Erik has said it. He's probably worst tenure slide. And
his worst 12 months with the
it all
team.
really starts with this cat, right? It all really starts with a DP. I'm gonna set a timer here. I think it's interesting. I love this thing. We're gonna set a timer for 4 minutes, and we're gonna go at it. And I'm gonna go for 2 minutes, and then you're gonna go for 2 minutes, and I'm gonna tell you my grade, and you're gonna tell you your grade, and then we're gonna go to the next player, and that's what we're gonna do this for the next I don't know, several players here that we have. But first off, I think signing Olivier Giroud 12 months ago was a great move. And there's nothing you can say about that. No other club out there 12 months ago, knowing what we didn't know then, would not have signed this guy. He was a prolific scorer for his team. He would have given us a better chance to get Griezmann if he was available. And more than anything, he was doing really well with Milan and not someone that was completely out of the picture. So I felt that finding Giroud was a great sign. So people would just kill me online. Oh my God, that was a total F. And I'm like, no. The fact that we signed him, and remember that I'm grading the GM, not the player, it's fucking phenomenal. I think we actually once again proved that MLS can compete with the other clubs in signing some of these guys. He went back to Lille, which is, in his home country. So we're at the very least as good as the Frenchies, right? And the French league. But, of course, it didn't work out. 3 goals, 21 games. DP spot, right? Total bust, which is the biggest issue with LAFC and John Thorrington, in my opinion. So, yes, I don't think it's a total failure because, A, we got to sign him. And then the second thing, and I'll say, we bailed on him 6 months before, which now allowed John Thorrington to do as much as he can for the second window. I think there's so much value in the bailing of this transaction and recognizing that this shit was not working, that I give this thing a D plus, not an F, because it wasn't a total failure. You tried, it didn't work, and then guess what? We move on. So Erik, I'll ask you, how would you grade Olivier Giroud's, tenure with LAFC from the GM standpoint?
D minus. I think looking at Giroud is something obvious, is that he really didn't fit how we play. And I think for a GM to take that valuable slot on a player that really doesn't fit the chemistry of the squad, doesn't fit the style of the manager, this is really just, it really doesn't do anything any good except for jersey sales. The only thing Giroud ever did positive for the team is sell jerseys. And
fuck done with them. I feel so bad.
And so
refund them.
Giroud scarves. I have like 2 Giroud scarves here.
Refund us all for Giroud gear, bitches.
He fucking made me buy some scarves with his face on it. It's like embarrassing.
We should fucking get all refunded Giroud gear money.
This dude came here, pulled up in his Bentley to BMO Stadium to sit on the bench because that was absolutely it was pointless, and what was our whole beef with the team last season is making it to finals and not winning them, getting knocked out of them. Was Giroud ever going to be the guy to put us over the finish line? I like to hope so, but I was extremely naive in doing so, and I think we were all naive. And as I like to say, hope is not a plan, and that's where it got us. So for JT, this was the absolute dud signing. Also because I think we looked at this in the context of he was supposed to be bait to bring Griezmann, and that obviously didn't work because that fucker signed for 2 more years with Athletic. So Giroud is like, man, I'm very kind to not give an F on this one. Very kind. And that's all right. We need to.
That's it. No. Hey, listen, man. I appreciate you not giving an F, and that's the end of that because I think that was some good that came out of it, and it's E for effort and exactly an economic benefit that just only you and I give a fuck about. That's very true. But yeah, that's cool. All right, man. Next one, Javier Diurosong. I love his name, but he's gone. Javier is gone, and I don't even think we need 4 minutes on him. I thought it was a very smart move to bring Javier to LAFC. We needed depth more than anything else going into the Club World Cup. If anything, he wasn't amazing, but he had value. He had experience. He had been in the big the big stage. He was looking for a rebound place or opportunity, but it was just gonna be really hard for him to be able to do what we all wanted him to do in such a short period of time. A player that was still, and by the way, Club America, now he returned to Club America, and Club America already openly said he's not going to be a part of their plans. So listen, if he's a free agent and he wants to be an LAFC player and get some tan money from us and be a part of the locker room, like Girondolo always says, these guys are great locker room guys, and they just keep leaving. No one gives a fuck if you're a locker room guy or not, right? But if you cost too much money, or if you're on the wrong spot on that diagram, you're just not gonna make it, and you're gonna get canned. And he was a DP. I didn't like that, but we brought him as a DP, and he did okay in my book. I think he, if anything, showed more than changes and marked like Oliveira did. So I saw some qualities on Diurosong, but again, low risk, low reward, and really just a tactical stopgap for, okay, what's next? You know what I mean? When we're talking DP, it doesn't fit. Erik, Javier, what are you gonna put him? My grade here, C+.
Yeah. Similarly, I'll give this one a B. It was opportunistic. We had the slot. There was really no downside on this, and it was such short notice because Under got injured, and all of a sudden we had this huge hole with with like 10 days to go before the Club World Cup. So
I know, it's crazy.
They made this happen. It's a guy Club America wants desperately to get rid of. And so, he made kind of a little play. I think America hoped that we would take him, and I think he knew he never had any intention of taking him. But he was serviceable while he was here. He had I think two goals with us, and they were solid. I think he's a guy that if we could get him on a friendly enough salary that he's kind of like a bench guy, kind of like a Bobasi. Like if he got about the same number of minutes as a Bobasi, I'd be cool with him, But if he's indeed a DP player, like that absolutely doesn't work. If we picked him up for maybe $600K a year salary, I think he would be a solid addition to the team. Anything more than that, like $1 million a year, absolutely not. And I think that's probably more like where he gets paid. So good to let him move on. So I give him a B just because we got him, we used him, and then we didn't do anything stupid with him after we sent him off. And that's that. So that one's fine.
Yeah, and this is where you see, really where MLS falls short, because if we didn't have roster restrictions, that dude would probably just stay here, right? We'll just sign him and give him a contract at the end of the year and just allow him to just be able to do this. So long, Diro. I actually liked him. Very good personality, good experience, but it's just not what we are looking for at the moment. So what was your grade again? I'm so sorry, bud. It was a B. I like that grade.
I gave a B.
I think that. Oh shit. I think that's a solid. My bad. I gotta put this back up.
Hey.
Good old Canva. So we'll bring it back here, and I'm sorry for that. Duro is solid, and I think a B is really a good score for him. But man, we'll talk. We'll put your grade here later. Marquis Delgado,
you got an audience
baby.
window icon up on the screen here.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that, but yeah, let's just reset
real
here.
Professional, Celso.
I'll cut you off real quick.
Not
here,
that you
man.
booted me again for.
No, real quick. We'll bring it back while I set this back. I'm gonna talk Marquis Delgado while I put this back up. I apologize. I actually trained myself not to press that button 6 times, and I pressed it. So apologize for that. It's a very tricky button, but yeah, Marquis Delgado is the next guy, and then I'm already gonna say it. I'm gonna give him an A. Really solid guy to me. Someone that has all the qualities of solid midfielder, everything that we are looking for, a true two-way player, right? Can advance the ball, which I think it's very important. You can advance the ball, and then you can also at the same time defend well, right? And Mark has been really a solid pickup for us because he costs us very little. He doesn't cost us very much, and I think that's really, really important for us to be able to have someone that, you know what I mean, like in one position that we can win, because any other position that you see, we're stretching the budgets. We're doing so much to just catch up with some of the other teams. So Marquis was kind of fell in our laps. I don't give him an A because he is a Carson guy. The picture I had him with the ring, at Carson. So it's tough because he did come from the Galaxy almost as a prize, I want to call it almost, and that's pretty cool, but. It doesn't feel like there's just that much merit to it. And as much as I love Mark, we've seen that he's not perfect, and he's definitely not everything we need. So what's your grade of Mark? Again, A- to me. The best, I would say, pickup that we've had this season by far has been him. Erik, 2 minutes here. We're at 30. You go to 32. Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna for me, I'm gonna put Delgado as he's a C for me. I think he's a good player.
We disagree and stuff. Nice.
He's a solid player. The reason I don't give him a higher grade is he is an expensive player. He's $1 million a year salary. That's a good chunk of change for a midfielder. Edward Atuesta last season, he was getting paid $680K a year. Is he that much of an upgrade? Kellen Acosta in our 2022 run, he was $1 million a year midfielder. And I think he was a little better than Delgado is for that same price. Now, Acosta now makes 1.6. He's basically a max TAM in Chicago. But, we're talking about JT here, not Marky Delgado. Marky Delgado is great in this team. I love him as a player. I like having him on our team. He's very solid. But as far as like pickups, he's got a pretty good price tag for what we're getting out of this right now. And
So what did you give? You gave him a C, huh? That's not bad, man. I mean, I love that we're disagreeing here on this one because
I'm not giving him a C. I'm giving the
you're giving him a G. I'm just kidding. Because he's a Galaxy fan.
I gave him a G. I gave him a C.
I know, bud. I know. I'm joking because I think a lot of people still think that Mark is a little bit, just this much, a Carson guy. And then that picture there says a lot.
What letter does Carson? A C.
That's where you were going with, motherfucker. You got me there.
Over your head. No.
Woo!
But no, it's nothing against Delgado. I love having Delgado on the team. He's a great player. But the whole deal with him, I think, was a C, just because of high price tag.
But I'm gonna let you go on this one first because it's not fair. If you saw my score on Twitter, that's okay. But what about changes? I'm not gonna say anything. What do you think? What do you think he's earned? I left my comment there for you to ponder. You go to 34. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I actually I'd put under also. I give him a B minus. And again, this isn't for his performance. This is for the GM's job at picking up a guy like this. Of course. Because, we basically pulled a loan off of a guy for 4 months who has a price tag of like $20 million, He didn't necessarily work out for us, but he's a very, very good player. And you could see he's a very, very good player. I think he's another one that like Dolo Ball just didn't flatter him. And Dolo Ball doesn't flatter a lot of players. But for going out and grabbing a guy at Fenerbahce where the coach, he doesn't fit into the coach's scheme because the coach doesn't use a right winger. I believe he plays like two nines up front. So his position was really, really not being used at all. So Thorrington was able to identify this guy and basically bring him over for a 4-month deal to kind of run through some tournaments and see if we could make something happen. It really didn't work out, but the GMing there I thought was pretty good. So this is a B signing for me.
You don't have to go to 2 minutes if you don't. I mean, that's fine. We are really far apart on this one because I give him an F. All right. And I will tell you this, first off, $1.2 million signs. It literally will buy you players out there that can become stars on your roster. So this cat was here for 3 months, 4 months, got injured, collected a massive paycheck, got injured, and really didn't even fit as a starter. He had a chance. He had a tough time beating Nathan Ordaz on the right wing. So I'm all for trying and stop gaps and short-term loans and being opportunistic. But we talked about this, Erik. It's at the expense of either a young guy or someone that could have done more with that spot. Sometimes LAFC just, and we know this about this team, we really struggle with the third DP spot. Oh my God, we cannot get it filled or it to work. So it's this illusion that we have in our brain that it really a struggle, and we try too hard sometimes is what I'm trying to say. And I think Changes was a huge reach. When he got signed, a lot of comments online that he was overrated, if anything, right? And clearly was to me. So I gave him an F. I appreciate your grade. I mean, he was a high caliber player. And by the same rationale, right, we got someone to occupy that spot, which wasn't necessarily was going to. So there's merit to JT and the GM for doing work there. But did you need to, or could you have been active somewhere else like you say, South America, right? Give someone, I don't even know if we do young DPs anymore.
No, they got rid of that.
Yeah, they got rid of that, right? So with the four U22s, but you know what I mean? It just seemed like it was like a bad move from the beginning to the end, and we just wasted $1.2 million, bro. Like, I don't love that. It's a lot of money in MLS.
When we got him, the season had already started. Everybody's seasons has started. So, at this point, like, who wants to give up a player basically in like mid to late March?
You gave him a C, right? I'm so sorry.
I give a B.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I gave a B. If of course we could have looked at a good South American player, but like, what team wants to give up a good South American player week 5 or week 6 of their season? Like, they're going to need a king's ransom for that. We took a flyer on a guy who was available, and if you looked at why he was available, there wasn't really huge red flags that came up for that issue. So we took a flyer on a guy. We had an open spot. We weren't filling that slot, and they only wanted to get rid of him for a little bit anyways. So that's that. I think if you can grab a guy like that and you have an opening on your roster for it, there's not much to lose.
I agree with you. Too bad we don't give DP spots to center backs. Otherwise, maybe we'd have given it to Marlon, because of course he was a very expensive player, cost us a shit ton of money, and was shown the door. Marlon was, to me, an okay player. However, he did not crack the starting lineup more than as a depth player. He could not beat Eddie Segura emphatically to his position, which was a disappointment, I know, from everyone around him. He demanded a salary that was over $1 million, which that's on the club for signing a crazy salary of that guy. But I get it, when you're opportunistic and if you want to just jump on things as they are happening, Erik, of course you're going to have to overpay. That's the rule of, time and money. You know what I'm saying? You want to be first, you're going to pay a little bit more of that premium. But, again, I didn't like how things ended with Marlon, especially because if you recall during the JT interview, I asked directly to JT, hey, man, what do you think of Marlon, blah, 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 what has he done, what you guys are doing? And he basically said, you don't want to know what's going on with Ukraine, which I thought it was a little bit undermining of me. Like, hey, it's too difficult for you to understand. And then he goes on to saying they're going to demand too much money and it's a Ukraine thing and I don't think we can afford him. Well, why did you sign him for $1 million to begin with? Very, very similar to me and reminiscent of Franco Escobar, a guy that came in, was making a fuck ton of money at the time and then fell in the roster cracks to second and then was shown the door and now became productive at Houston. So
he got injured all the time.
Escobar
was injured like half
That's
the time
true.
he was here.
He was, and that was just a bad stint because with Houston he wasn't. So I'm gonna give you your 2 minutes to talk Marlon, bro, because I thought he was okay, right? Because the contract was shit. So if I'm grading JT on that, he's a C- guy because he didn't get to re-sign the guy and he was too expensive. And you only started him 8 times. Go ahead. And what do you think of Marlon and the work that JT did with him?
Yeah, the Marlon grade for me is a D. And I love Marlon. I thought he was great. He was another player that I scratch my head why he didn't get more playing time, because his aerial duels, he was excellent. Excellent one-on-one defending. And a great long ball out of that guy, too. And all I can think of is one that, a lot of the strengths of his game are not things that fit in well with Dolo ball, Mm-hmm. So if Marlon would have stayed here, I mean, this would be an A signing for me for sure, but he's not. So he's a D. I get the whole situation in Ukraine with the war. There was a clause in FIFA where if players want out of a war zone, they can get it for a temporary amount of time. So the opportunistic side of that was great. But once they got him, they didn't really seem to know what to do with him or do that much with him at all. And so that's why, this I think goes down to a big opportunity cost, like what could have been. And his salary is $1 million, just like Delgado. He makes the same price as Delgado, and I think if they would have put him in there and just put him in minutes with Long, I think we could have had the best center back tandem in the league. But They, for whatever reason, and what do I know? I'm not seeing the training every day. He wasn't that guy for them, and so he really didn't get enough minutes. So the whole thing is a waste. And of course we get rid of him, and then Long goes down, and we're sitting here with one center back right now.
It's just shot in the foot after shot in the foot. I'm so hurt. I hate it. Yeah, it really is bad. Out of time on Marlon. Bye-bye. He's posting photos in Ukraine, not giving a fuck about the war, making probably twice as much money in MLS, you know what I mean? But yeah, let's just blame the league for everything bad that happens. Hey, the next one's going to be an interesting one because I thought a lot about it, and I put a lot of thought about this guy and why I gave the grade that I gave. First off, I have to put this up, which is Igor's comparison against other positional midfielders. And I don't necessarily know if they include like 6s and 8s, whatever, right? But it's still an understanding of
it does include 6s, 8s, and 10s.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But you can see kind of where he's excelling and where he's not. So the first thing I notice about that is the best thing he's doing right now is completing passes. That tells me he's not trying too hard to complete passes that have verticality to them, which I have a problem with it. It's not necessarily that he's not helping score and assist. I get that because you're not an 8 or a 10. But at the same time, first off, you're playing a 4-3-3, so that flat midfield technically gives you some, I would say, we've seen Igor pass midfield, right? Plenty of times. And when we saw him score against Club America, we popped. So I think this is the secret for Dolo ball to work. Your 6 has to be creative enough to create opportunities for your 8s, your 10s, or your guys up front. Unfortunately, Igor is not doing that. You can see that. When he intercepts or blocks, he's not quick enough to either progress with the ball by running with it or passing you it. He's getting rid of it as fast as he can to a guy next to him because of confidence matters and confidence issues. That is a problem to me, Eric, and that's why everyone's like, oh, Igor's been fucking phenomenal, amazing. What is he doing excellent for LAFC at the moment? He's not a good clearer at the ball. And you can see that. And we've seen Igor clear the fucking ball, man. You have to clear the ball when it's important. And he hasn't done that. So to me, he's a B-, and he's got work to do, Eric.
Igor he's probably my only A grade on this whole thing. But Igor gets an A from me.
You got to have to defend the things I talk about it then, because that's a perfect grade, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. Number one, if you we can't pull up the FBref, but if you
$4 million, by the way, price tag, which I did not mention.
Hey, you better give me some extra time here. If you're going to look at what Ilie Sanchez did and his FBref in the 6th position last season, Igor's stats look better. And I think Igor is also limited by Dolo ball. Dolo does not want midfielders to make forward central passes. And we see this every fucking game. And Igor Jesus is a creative passer. And I think he's being basically that part of his game is getting throttled at, just like our other great passer, Atuesta. I bring him up every fucking time because I hate you do. What Igor does well is when Igor does get the ball, he usually will draw in a couple of pressers. He'll shake them off, and he'll find an outlet up the side for our wings to progress the ball forward. If Igor could not soak up that kind of pressure and release the ball, the wings wouldn't have this space to move forward. He also sits in front of our center backs, and his defensive contributions are massive for this team. I can't, it's almost like proving a negative, but I'm sure there's a very healthy number of goals that didn't get scored against us because Igor Jesus is parked in front of those center backs. Nice. Our entire offense is anemic. And so to look at your deep lying 6, which is where Cherundolo has him, as not putting together enough creativity and attack, I think this is a little bit crazy because, he's supposed to be there for the other midfielders to be able to progress the ball and put it up. And unfortunately, that's the role he has. I hope he survives post-Dolo ball and he's able to do a little more of what his skill set has, which he's a great player.
I could be wrong, but Ilya Sanchez's progressive passing and progressive passing stats were not at the 20th percentile of Major League Soccer. I could be wrong, Eric, but I think Ilya Sanchez making what he's making is better than Igor Jesus, which cost $4 million. I don't think Igor Jesus is a bad player. I'm being put in a very tough situation here because I think Igor has been one of our best pickups. But to ask of Igor what we're asking is a problem. You know what I mean? That's been my concern with Igor. And the defensive stats are not 99, man. Like, he's not the best. He's doing great, but he's not excellent. And there's work to do there. But I really appreciate your input on Igor. I think it's the most polarizing position, but also the guy that's probably most vulnerable when we get a new coach. I don't think he's going to be a de facto starter like he's been here at LAFC under Delgado. I just don't think so. I think he's going to lose his position as a starter. It's going to be good for LAFC. All right, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. 46 minutes of show. Sydney Stock Leagues Cup. So we're going to do a three-fer here, and I'm going to set a 1 minute drill here for us. 30 seconds each to talk about these guys, because, I mean, who wants to really hear about Yeboah, Tafari, and Amaya? To me, this is like the C zone. Everyone did something, but not enough to be, part of the true conversation. Did you do okay or not? Maybe we're still waiting on what it really meant. Yeboah needs to be more utilized. Tafari's very inconsistent. And I'm very underwhelmed by Amaya. What do you think about these three guys, buddy?
Yeboah is.
Here's my grades, but go ahead.
Yeah, Yeboah is an F. When we talked to the Columbus guys on a podcast earlier this season, they all said basically the only position he's good at is left wing. Anywhere else you stick him, he vastly underperforms. So getting a guy that we already have a left wing is an F. We don't need him except as a backup. He's expensive for that. Next we got Tafari. Tafari gets a C only because at this point, like, he's the only center back we have left on the roster. If Long didn't get injured, if we kept Marlon, like, Tafari be an F. He really loses his focus a lot of times, especially on set pieces.
Sorry about that.
And he seems to his positioning seems to be very off at times. He's not really sharp. And this was an issue he had at Dallas. He is a excellent physical athlete, so his recovery is good, but positioning is much more ideal with the way Dolo has his scheme. So he's a poor fit in Dolo's system. Amaya, I'm going to give a C as well because we just haven't seen much of him, and this grade is going to change depending on how we see him play more. But Dolo is
overwhelming though.
He's so stuck on Delgado and Tillman, nobody else gets a look anyways.
Yeah, but he's very underwhelming. You're right. I think that at this point we should be seeing more of him. Just different looks. Try other stuff. Try other stuff.
Who's he going to replace? Who's Dolo going to sub out for him? Nobody.
That's true. It's kind of challenging here. Let's give ourselves 2 minutes for these two guys because I think there's enough to talk about here. I think first off, I love Artem Smoliakov. I have been a big fan of him coming up. I really believe that when he plays, the team loses certain things that they're getting with Hollingshead. But when he's in there, you could see his growth, and he's already contributing in both sides of the ball, which I think is very important for a fullback. So I'm all in on Arden. I think he needs to have a bigger role in this team moving forward. Please don't let the season get to go to total shit to feature Smoliakov. On the other hand, Ibobis. It's interesting, I got a lot of hate from my grades, which I'll reveal now, of the two guys. I'm giving Ibobis a B-. Why? Man, look, first off, if you look at his stats from San Francisco, from the Quakes, they were not as good. They are actually in line in the per 90 basis as ours. So, you can't really expect him to do more than he's currently doing. So I give him a B- because he's cheap as fuck and he's a productive vet. That's it, Eric. So what do you give these two guys? You're muted. Go ahead.
sorry.
No worries.
I give Smolyakov an A-, very close to a B+. Like, I'm kind of on the fence, but since you gave him a B+, I'll give him an A-. The one, he's a 600K a year salary. That's,
Yeah.
that's what makes him not a full A.
Okay.
But he does look like he is the heir apparent to that position, much like Palacios did in 2019. Ebobisse gets a solid B from me. He's a $600,000 a year attacker. Attackers are not cheap in MLS. So, Ebobisse is a guy, he's put in about as much minutes as can be valuable. He's not who we want starting. We want to be developing guys. We want Ordaz to take that slot like he has, but he's good security on the bench.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I think he's been doing really, really well. Look, there's quite a few guys we didn't talk about, right? I'm gonna mention Oldingham, LAFC two guys. Anyone you want to review that we have not reviewed so far. And Odin got hurt, so I gave him an incomplete. He's the guy that dropped class, and he dropped just enough not to get the F. And now he's getting minutes with LAFC too. But, anyone else that we didn't talk about that, I think we pretty much covered everybody, right? So, look, man, last grade.
Oh, you know who else got picked up was Ochoa.
Man, he makes 150 in. Is like a great recovery story. And go ahead, yeah. I think it's an awesome story if he can play, and be a backup for us.
I think he's gonna be playing tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, against Mazatlán, because Lloris is doing visa. Lloris is out getting his visa, so we're gonna see Ochoa tomorrow. Ochoa, B+, man, B+. Great pickup. Somebody I was skeptical about at first, but I kind of dig the guy. Nice cheap salary. Like, this is an opportunistic grab, so good marks for me on that one.
Love it. That's a really good call out, because I didn't think of him. And yes, he's very cheap. He seems to be ready to take on the Rams, and he was really good for RSL. So great depth on the bench, and we'll see what happens in the goalkeeper position. I really want Lloris to stay one more year. He looks solid. That one save he had on this past game against Portland, which, by the way, we're not talking fucking Portland. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? But the one thing we saw was one beautiful save from Hugo Lloris. But, hey, man, last one to grade then, of course, is the body of work of John Thorrington. You've mentioned in the beginning of the show that was and had been his probably most troubling, stints or part of his tenure here at LAFC, which was exactly the question I asked Dolo. A little bit of pointing of the fingers. But yeah, 2 minutes for you, and you only, to talk about John Thorrington and your grade.
I'm going to give him a D+ for this. I'm not going to give him a full D because, I do have to take in consideration his whole body of work, which has been pretty excellent. But I think over the last year, even 18 months, despite him, I believe, winning like the MLS Executive of the Year last season.
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. Right after signing Giroud.
Yeah, great for jersey sales, absolutely shitty for results on the pitch. So a D-, and I think a lot of it was the whole Antoine Griezmann thing, which I think they chased, and he chased too hard, which I understand. We all wanted that to happen, and we all thought that would be really cool to have it happen. But at the end of the day, it fell through. And I think, like I've said in some tweets, we cannot be simping for players like this. We have to look at our badge and not get insecure and say, we are LAFC. If somebody wants to prioritize another club over us, then you go enjoy that, and we need to turn and look for somebody else, because our club needs to be bigger than this. And same goes with Son. If he gets wishy-washy, it's like, move on to the next guy. Like, we need to be a big club. We need to have that ego. We need to like whip it out and flop it on the table and say, yeah, you want to come to us? Like, you come to us. Like, we're not going to chase you. We're not going to beg you. So I hope that the last 12 to 18 months has given that perspective that, guys want to come here. We just can't chase people like that. So, I think the almost only way to go is up from here. So JT, give me a reason to give you an A next season, please.
All right. I think, again, I'm going to be very quick because we're a little bit short on time, but John, to me, gets so much effort, so much for trying, right? Hard. And a lot of times falling on his face. Sorry, John, if you're listening, please. But trying is really cool. And if you're trying and you're doing more than 85% of this league, and there's just so much embedded in that. So I'm that teacher that I'm seeing beyond your body of work in the last 24, and I'm grading you in a fucking curve at this point. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm giving you a B minus, but you're right. Erik is completely right. If this was fucking like legit college year, you deserve a D plus because there's a lot of failures in this list we went through, right? And not a lot of wins. There's some smart depth. Hey, you got Delgado from your opponent. Tafari came in cheaper than like maybe Murillo. Who knows? Maybe you freed up some from roster and you found this guy in Turkey. Great, good for you. But you're still missing on the big picture, right? Which is the DP stuff. The DP position, LAFC, has been a little bit of a joke. And with the few exceptions that we've named, Denis Bouanga, Carlos Vela, and Diego Rossi, there's very little to celebrate. Right. And I think that this is maybe his most important window, especially after the announcement that Dolo's leaving. Right. Which is an interesting twist on all of this because you're operating as a GM, but there's there's a new coach coming with a new system. So what does that mean? What does that even mean? Right. So it's really hard for me to understand how do you fully operate. What if this guy's anti-Son that you're going to hire, right? And he goes like, well, I don't want this guy. He doesn't do anything for me defensively. He doesn't press. So how do I fucking play him? He's been caught. Like, we complain about him not pressing enough.
On that line, Celso.
Oh, my God.
If JT fired Dolo, he would instantly go up to a C+ for me.
Well, that's a good point because we didn't talk about the fact that a lot of people are unhappy with John Thorrington because he's a gentleman. He's not going to fire a coach mid-season. He's going to let it ride, and he's going to let everything kind of work itself out like it did with Bob, which is kind of crazy. But we're gonna finish our discussion of him with this beautiful quote, which is, "To have the need here, potentially long term, is exactly aligned with our ambitions to win more trophies." That was, I believe, 24. I forgot how many weeks ago. I looked this up earlier and I forgot. But this came out right after when Denis Bouanga renewed, 72 weeks ago, I believe, when Denis Bouanga renewed his contract with LAFC. So, which brings me to really the biggest question of it all, which is, what do you do with Denis Bouanga in the picture of it all? I think he needs to stay here. He should stay here. If Club America wants to give us all that money, great. But if it's gonna take 12 million and another player or something else in order to move Denis Bouanga. You agree? I mean.
Here's another thing, and we didn't talk about JT's body work, is how much did we get from Mateusz Bogusz? Like 10 million, 11 million? I mean, we're talking about selling
your roster for the next 12 months, man. Come on. So it's hard for you to judge that.
But this is my point with Bouanga.
You made the owner's money. That's how I see that.
Even last offseason, I said, hey, dish him. Like, this is what we're going to get. But the thing is, as you say, we have 2 open DP slots. If you have 2 open DP slots, you don't get rid of your only DP you have left. Like, at this point, like, we just don't have the depth to get rid of him, like, at all. Like, we need that. I think the profile he has as a player is very interesting. Sometimes it fits and sometimes it doesn't fit. But, like, he's our only consistent goal scorer we have right now. And at this point, it's like, if we didn't have Bouanga, looking at this roster, like,
it's fucking shite.
We're looking
we're
looking like a Cade Cowell San Jose at that point.
Jesus Christ! By the way, grass is always greener. Look at San Jose. They got Chicho Arango. They got all these flashy things going on. They got the coach, and they can't get out of 7th place. They're stuck there forever. You know what I mean? Like, Bruce Arena can't help them.
These are all post-injury guys.
Do you see what I mean, though? Like, it's really easy to say Dolo out, and that goes to you too, Eric. I know you are the very Dolo out man, but like it's not that easy to coach in this fucking shite of a league when your chart of players look like this. You have this fucking DP shit. You gotta account for the U22s, and everything needs to work. If Giroud's son doesn't fit DP, you are out of here, sir.
Look,
and that is the problem with this league that I cannot stand. Because Giroud's son should have stayed here as a fucking player and not a non-DP player, right? That's
Looks
because
also,
we have to put everything in that lab.
It's the late, after the Miami game, I was over it. It's the whole lame duck coach thing that's the problem. Because the one thing I want out of the season right now, at the very least, is to qualify for Champions League next season. And where's Dolo going to be for Champions League? He's going to be sitting in Germany.
Wait a minute. But yes, he will be.
Where's what motivation is there to go qualify for somebody else? Like, that's not motivation. And we need that motivation. Like, we need to be in that tournament. And I just kind of see it slipping away from us at this point.
But bro, like, okay, this is a great show, by the way. I've had so much fun doing this. So I appreciate, because it feels like I'm having a true conversation with you. Because the thing about Dolo is, like, we opened with that. Did you see the answer he gave me about having a hard time during his tenure? He basically said his job is not a real fucking job because he's coaching professional sports, and everything should be taken with a smiley grain of salt because he's doing a job of a professional sports coach. So, like, this guy is never going to feel it under his skin that his team is not performing. Like, forget that. It's not how he operates. You know what I mean? Like, does he want the team to do well? Yes, but none of that energy that all of us want is ever going to come out of this guy. It's just not how he's trained.
Do you think he's ever, like, gotten somebody's face and chewed them out in the locker room?
Fuck, I hope so, but I don't think that's his job. I think that's when, and we've had so many of these combos, right? This is why I think those three guys operate really, really well together.
You don't think it's his job?
There's a good cop, bad cop, and there's Mark Dos Santos. It's just like, you know what I mean? They're all just fucking figuring it out in there. I mean,
the first thing that comes to mind is like Sir Alex Ferguson, like chucking a hairdryer at David Beckham. Like, that dude was getting faces, and look at his success.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago. By the way, I stole the roster chart, and the comment on the roster chart was, Sir Alex Ferguson could not win with this shite roster. And I think it was
I didn't even know that.
LAFC Bayern. So thank you for that. But, man, let's talk Leagues Cup, because you mentioned the fact that it has 3 spots for CCC. It's a new format this year. I don't know if you can keep up with this shit, but they reduced the number of teams.
Brutal format.
Yeah, they reduced the number of teams, 18-18. So they got rid of the shit teams, which I appreciate. 3-match, I call it a group stage. It's not a group stage. It's just a stage. Of course, no draws, as you know it. Penalties go to this. You get an extra point if you win it. You still split the point. You just the penalty split gets you an extra point.
And it's
on this race.
8 teams move on. 8 teams move on from group.
Yes. So then you have this quarterfinal bracket, which puts everybody in a quarterfinals, and you are guaranteed to play a team from Leagues Cup. I'm sorry, from Liga MX. So they did look. What I like about Leagues Cup is that they keep trying to fix it. One thing is. We are not playing goddamn Vancouver 3 times in a row anymore. They get rid of that by making sure that we are only playing Liga MX teams, not only in group stages, but also in the first tier of the bracket. So your first thoughts on Leagues Cup? We're over it today. Apologize, guys. Probably going to go to 7:10, 7:15 here. But let's start Leagues Cup a little bit, and then we'll break down the group real fast.
Yeah, so first off, from what I understand, looking at the format, to have any hope of making it to the knockout, you need to win all three.
Oh shit! Yeah, I think you could probably get in with some ties, especially if the penalty kicks goes your ways, right? Because we will qualify the top. You're right. If you don't clear your group, right? If you don't win your group,
there are scenarios
6-7 points you should win, right?
There are scenarios looking at this where you can win all 3 games and still not make it to the knockout. It is mathematically possible.
That would be wild, man. I can't wait for the shit to crash and burn.
So basically,
And,
they need to win all three of these games. Like all three need to be wins.
wow. Wow. So, I mean, look, it's a huge test. Mazatlán, like you said, it's the weakest team. They were kind of divided into these little pockets of teams, some better than others. Of course, Mazatlán kind of being the weakest team, which Erik mentioned will open up for some rotation. And that's the question to me. Who would you rotate for Mazatlán? We're kind of like short on time. So why don't we do a quick lineup for that game tomorrow, Erik? Mazatlán coming into BMO. You already mentioned Lordy's out. Who are your starting 11 for that game?
There's no rotation in any of these games. We bring our
helps.
we bring our starter. Luckily, Segura is not red carded in this, so it's Segura Tafari.
No, and he's back already too, so he's good.
Yeah,
covered over.
Palencia, Hollingshead. I mean,
Sergi should be back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Igor Delgado, Tillman, Ordaz, Bouanga, and Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez, huh? Interesting. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit of rotation. I would think Smoliakov would be a good one to play this game. Again, we talked about featuring him more. If you got Pachuca this weekend, maybe it's a game for Smoliakov to get minutes once again. And then
on the break, look, all these games are at BMO, which definitely will help.
Of course, yeah. So the other thing that you mentioned that the only other variation, maybe bring Ebobis. I think this is the kind of guy that
you always say, right? It's Ebobisi.
You're right, Ebobisi. You're right. My bad. I think he's French, so I just want to put a freaking accent on it. My bad, guys.
Yeah.
Ebobisi for me could be. I'm calling Jibo, right? Come on, let's call him Jibo. Jibo, like, to me, can like get some real minutes that matter, right? Because this bullshit of coming off the bench with 8 minutes left, like we do, doesn't really help his cause. I know he got injured, but in the beginning of the season, he was giving him really quality minutes, scoring in tough times, in good moments. So Jibo, to me, should start this game. Give him 80 minutes. Let him kind of really play this game out with Bouanga. Martinez probably should do the same. I love to see Martinez. I agree with you there, man. Like, Martinez is the kind of guy now that's coming in for, just the late minutes now. I am really concerned about where he is mentally and where does this coaching staff believe he fits on the big picture of everything, which leads to my question, man. Who becomes expendable if Son comes in? Is Martinez in a target to be moved if Son really comes to LAFC?
Yeah, 100%. Like Martinez becomes the fourth guy in the depth up front. Like, and I think he's been here for a bit, and I like Martinez. He's another one I think that Dolo ball doesn't suit him the way he plays. He's a little more of like a forward/10. And, Dolo ball is really quick vertical, and Martinez is more of a dribbler and pick guys out. And he doesn't really get a chance to do what he likes to do with that. So I think definitely he's the guy out. And I do think he is in danger of losing relevance on this squad.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys that have been here. It's been a super fun show just to talk through these different players and the year in review of JT. This is his window. This is when he likes to splash. This is when things tend to happen for LAFC, right? But it's a different window for us. We're not in a position to just tweak the roster. We are in a position to really destroy it and start over and give this next coach the next model LAFC is going to. I call it LAFC 3.0. Do you remember LAFC 2.0? How excited we were when we signed Elias Sanchez, all those guys. That was really fun. So it will be LAFC 3.0. But again, JT and the coach have to be on the same page, bro. And I don't know, man. Like, it's like you saw at the beginning of the interview. JT is asking for, Dolo's asking for players, and JT is asking Dolo to coach. What gives, bro? What gives? Parting words for you, Erik.
I cannot wait to see LAFC move beyond Dolo to whatever the next coach is, good or bad, to see what a different set of eyes looking at these players, what what kind of recipe they put together to use the best ingredients they have in their fridge. I want to see that next meal get served to us. And I'm looking forward to that. I think that CCC we really need to qualify for, but I don't think it will happen.
Not even Leagues Cup. So yeah, we didn't.
And then the last thing with Leagues Cup,
yeah.
I stay by what I said is Leagues Cup. They're going to start to play games in Mexico once Messi no longer plays in this league, which I said the very first year.
Okay, but real quick though, do you think LAFC will get one of these 3 spots that are on available? I mean, look, man, like for a year like us that we're having, this is a great opportunity. In fact,
it's the best opportunity we're going to have because short of this, we're not in the Open Cup, so that's off the table. We have to win the MLS Cup, which is very, very long odds. And the other thing is basically we'll have to finish within the top 6 or 7 of Supporter Shield standings, because there's going to be teams up there that are already qualified, and so it'll fall, and that's going to be it. With this tournament, we need to put our foot in the gas the entire time, something that we don't ever do. We never have urgency with these games, but like I said, we need to win all 3 games, ideally in regular time, and we need to put our foot in the gas. And I'd like to see us rotate players after we take a nice lead in these games, but that's just not how Dolo ball works. And if we grind out these draws and things like that, like we're not getting out of the groups.
Well, there's a lot of really good teams that are going to be playing this tournament, and if you're going to reach the semifinals, right, and win a semifinal match, I think that's what it would take to get one of those 3 spots. It's going to take a lot of effort. But LAFC, man, it's still one of the better teams out there. I have full confidence out. On the left side of the bracket, there's not a lot of teams that are above LAFC. Maybe FC Cincy, Crew would give us a hard time. The Timbers looks like would give us a hard time, right? Carson probably would give us a hard time because we seem not to be able to get away from that. The Sounders would give us a hard time, and San Diego would give us a hard time. So there's a lot of the teams that are currently above us in league. Showing up here in this bracket on our side. So it's not going to be a cakewalk at all. But I also think that if we crash out of this thing, it's the best chance we have to end the Dolo tenure early. And again, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing if we do that, right? Do you want Dolo to be the guy that qualified you for next year's CCC, right? Or do you want him to crash out and burn out this thing so that it creates more pressure in the front office to do something now and put Razov in there? But like, again, people keep asking for Dolo out with us winning shit. So I have to ask you, what do you prefer? Do you want to lose or do you want Dolo to continue? You know what I mean?
I never.
I know you don't want your team to fucking lose, man. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't believe in this like tactical like victory from a loss or a moral victory. Like no. We need the CC. I want Dolo to win every last game we have left in the season and go back to Germany in style. That's what I want. Like crash out of this just so he gets fired. Like at this point, like man, it's like it's too late. Even gets fired. Like what do we? We're gonna put in.
It's just gonna make it worse
for 7 more regular season games. Now this is unfair to the interim coach coming into. Like now he doesn't have enough time to
He's got 13 games. He's got 13 games and a cup, and he's been there from day one. So fuck that. No. Razov's got enough. You know what I mean?
Okay,
that would be enough for him to prove his worth.
But I know, and that like he would prefer a little more of an offensive style than we have, and that's going to take a little bit of work on the training ground to get to, and we're going to be pretty congested. We have 3 games in hand, which means we're going to have a lot of 2-game weeks coming up, which means not much time in the pitch to drill for stuff. So does Razov really have time to implement like his vision for the team at that point?
There's no fucking vision, man. It's continuation of Bob's shit in like with a little bit of a twist. It's still a 4-3-3 with a 6, and you know what I mean? And that's why I don't believe, and if you believe the narrative that Razov's an ex-coach, which I do, and I know nothing more than you guys. If you do believe that narrative, I do believe that Razov's our next coach, and I think that the players are being picked based on what Razov and Dolo believe is right. I do believe that's how it works. And call me crazy. But I'm there, and I see it, and I look at body language, and I do believe that he's our next coach. And he's earned it. Fuck, man. That guy's been there from day one.
I'd support it.
Goddamn.
A lot of LAFC fans are going to be pissed about it, but I'll give him a chance for sure.
Look, Pat Nooney, and we got to move on. This has been a great show, so I'm sticking around. We've had a great number of live people stop by today, more than normal, so I kept it longer too. But Pat Noonan was an assistant under Curtin. You know what I mean? So you went and got the assistant under the system that was working. But you have a system that's working, it's not perfect, and you got the assistant here already. So, like, it makes sense to keep the assistant versus, oh, no, let's get the Swiss guy. Let's get the Liga MX guy. Let's get Jardini guy. Let's get the Brazilian guy. My God, Jardini, rapaz. You know what I mean? So it's where I have a problem with this narrative. So it's not that broken, so maybe don't fix it. That's kind of where I'm going with this, Eric. But sorry, we went long. Parting words on Dolo and everything that we still have to do to get to where we need to be as a club, man. Which you heard JT, he wants us to be a trophy yielding club, and I think that as long as we win one trophy a year, we're gonna be okay. So that's why I'm huge in the Leagues Cup. I'm like, go all fucking out. The problem is that this roster is very, very limited. I don't think we're gonna do it. So.
Yeah, no, I hope Dolo can figure out a way to get us to qualify for CCC. I guess at this point, since
he's there. What the fuck?
Yeah, so I truly hope that happens. But yeah, otherwise Dolo's basically all the goodwill that he built up from those first 2 years has been completely getting squandered.
Well, the kind of answer you gave me is why he's not so loved. He's like, yeah, I'm having fun, and I really don't worry about it, and I just go play with my kids. Come on, man, you got to do better than that. But it's him to a teeth, buddy. It's been great. I appreciate it. Hey, look, I hope you come to LA soon to come to games. I know that you're working so hard there in OKC. But I know that you're planning some trips to Los Angeles, and
I'll be there for a Vela Appreciation Night game.
Right.
I've already locked that in.
That's right.
You
already got the tickets.
September 21st, I think.
Yeah.
And then short of that, I'll be traveling to the Dallas game here on the 23rd of next month.
Which could be the first time Section 128 takes the show on the road. If we do end up going, if I do end up going as well, we will broadcast the show from Dallas. That would be so much fun. It's a dream of mine. Just put a camera in front of a stadium and try to broadcast.
You might have to get cowboy hats for this.
Well, fuck that shit, but why not? I live in the country, bro. My daughter is a cowgirl. She just finished horse camps. Oxnard, once you cross the border, the Ventura County border, you start seeing horses and shit. It's crazy. It's wild. It's California. That's why I love it. But appreciate you being here, my man. It's always fun to talk to you. This is one of the coolest shows I've done with you. You brought it. You gave us some good grades. And let's bring it, man. Let's get this Leagues Cup shit going. And then after that, try to qualify to the playoffs in somewhat of a spot, right? Maybe not first, but maybe third.
Just get there at this point.
Just get there. Don't miss it, whatnot. But, we'll see what it is. And we'll always, as always, thank you for being here, following us. The following on YouTube is happening, so appreciate you for that. Here always on Mondays at 6 p.m. Again, 20 minutes over, man. But it's been fun. Cheers.